about the 22 innocent lives that were taken in this attack. Melissa.
Thank you for that. I am now joined by White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Thanks so much for joining us. First, let me ask you about the president's visit tomorrow. What should we expect? What is going to happen? What's he going to say?
Well, listen, your heart breaks for these communities. They have suffered through an unspeakable evil, a tragedy that no one in this country should ever have to feel or experience. And the president on Monday made the point that he wanted to share in the grief and sadness that so many are feeling right now, but he also shares in the anger. And he offered some solutions of how we could actually address some of these issues so that it never happens to another community or another person in this country's history ever.
What do you make of the Democrats who say that he shouldn't go, or some, from the area that say they don't want him to come? We know that in Ohio there will be some protests, and some say the wounds are just too raw and that rightly or wrongly they blame the president, so they don't want him to come.
Look, I understand some emotions are high. The president and the first lady want to go into these communities so that they can share in the sadness, but also share in the anger. And try and come up with some solutions and talk to people on the ground there, some of the heroes of this country who saved so many lives, the first responders, some of the just American citizens who use themselves as human shields to protect people. I mean, this is what makes America such an incredible place. And while healing isn't even a thought we can put into our heads right now, the president wants to go there with the first lady and share in some of these experiences and grief and also express condolences of how we can begin to heal, because we will come out of this as a stronger country. And the president made that clear in his speech on Monday, that he unequivocally denounced hatred, racism, bigotry, and white supremacy, saying it has no place in this country. He's going to express that again and repeatedly, as he has done in the past, because it doesn't. Yeah. And we're going to come up with solutions to actually fix it.
In the meantime, there is a call for action, without question. I mean, there always is. We've heard that the president is considering using executive action to do something about gun violence. What would that look like? And does that mean that he doesn't think that there's a legislative solution?
Well, look, he's looking at all options, legislative and from the executive branch. The actions we've taken in the past, whether it was banning bump stocks or working with Congress on the Fix NICS piece of legislation, which was very strong in strengthening background checks, he's always looking at solutions that actually work. It's not about something that feels good. It's about something that actually protects the American people and makes our communities safer. That's what this president wants to do. But I have to say, it is disgusting to watch so many on the left come before cameras within 5 hours of this tragedy and lie about this president and have pathetic comments about the state of this country and where this president stands. The president stands with all these Americans who suffer through these tragedies and those who want to fix the problems we face. And these Democrats have played politics from the word
But you don't
go,
think his rhetoric plays
so
any
sad.
part in the hatred or the violence or any of the back and forth? You don't think that the accusation is that the culture he foments at his rallies leads to this kind of violence? How do you respond to that?
That is absolutely ridiculous. We do not blame, nor do we even dream of blaming, Elizabeth Warren for the shooter in Ohio who wanted to vote for her. The supporter of Alexander Ocasio-Cortez, who carried out a terrorist attack trying to blow up a DHS ICE facility using her language of concentration camps. The Bernie Sanders supporter who shot up conservatives on a baseball field. And we don't blame Barack Obama for the deaths of Dallas police officers. That is ridiculous. We wouldn't dream of doing it.
Would it help if you were more careful with his language?
And ignore it on the Democrat side.
Would it help if everyone were more careful with their language?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that the president came forth on Monday and was very deliberate in what he wanted to say to this country, where we wanted to go, offered solutions, and saying we have to unify to make this country safer. And you played a clip from Beto O'Rourke, and I'll tell you this. He doesn't care about making this country safer. He cares about winning the Iowa caucus. That's the only play he's doing here. It's political in nature, and you see that up and down the left side, and we reject it.
Let me ask you about more from the left. Former President Obama releasing a statement on the mass shootings, and it took a somewhat veiled jab at the president, writing, quote, "We should soundly reject language coming out of the mouths of any of our leaders that feeds a climate of fear and hatred or normalizes racist sentiments." What's your reaction to that?
If only Barack Obama were in a place to make a difference at some point in his life. Wait a minute, he was the President of the United States. For him to interject himself into this conversation, this debate at this point, is his right to do it. But the fact is, Donald Trump is the President of all Americans. He's trying to move this country forward, and comments like that take us backward and take us to a dark place that we never want to be and we never want to visit again.
I don't want to let you go without talking about the markets and the economy and the Treasury Department saying that China is